What are the top cards out of Amazing Defenders that you're going to want to pick up? Well, yeah. Hey. To the 34% of you not smash it, look crap out of that, subscribe button, smash it so you can show some love here. The video is actually kind of hard to put together because they're like not 10 cards in this Outward video. But I do want to kind of encompass some of this. We're going to talk about the Rescue Ace archetype just to kind of start here. I'm going to mention a couple things within this archetype. So remember, this is the archetype that basically puts out the fires and you get... That's such a terrible pun. I hate it here. The entire base gimmick of this deck is you want to have the Rescue Ace Turbulence or establish it, and then be able to go through and set, 4 Rescue Ace quick play cards from your deck. The problem with this deck is I know I'm already discouraging you 40 seconds in here. Problem with this deck is it feels very, very underwhelming. Now, I will say in all sorts of these deck build videos here that there reaches a price point where you look at these cores and you go, oh, hey, that's not too bad. Turbulence being the headliner of this set, if I could pick them up, if I could pick up the whole core for $50, then I'm going to be way more enticed to do so, because the fact that this core is I actually hate to say this, I think that this is the weakest theme in the set between Rescue, Alert, Contain, and Extinguish, which most of those are going to be low rarity except for Rescue and Alert, which are ultra rares at this point in time. You kind of got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Now, if you're trying to go higher rarity and pick up Hydrants and try to pick up the Turbulences in Collector's Rare, that's where it's going to cost you a little bit. But for overall, what I would really expect out of this set for this is I would expect that this would probably be your cheaper core. But to say the least here, there is a possibility that this particular one could definitely take the meta by storm, because every once in a while a stupid back row deck can kind of show up and take a few people aback, and I think it's definitely the more interesting little approach to this. So there's my thoughts on that. Next up, we got to talk about Little Purely. Now, for those of you who don't know, Purely got what, 1, 2, 3, 4 collector's rares in this set. Now, if you're a Purely main out here, you probably were very happy because you can get your deck in a much nicer rarity. And I think that that's a good thing in and in itself, is any time that you can get something in a semi-nice rarity, that's always going to be a banger out here. Now, what makes this archetype good? Well, you're missing the best card in the deck, which is the second little evolution monster to really spice in this deck up. But I can already tell you out here that the outcry from the Purely community that's going, I'm going to bling out my deck, I don't care what it costs, which is actually going to probably put a stress on this particular set. I think, honestly, picking up your Purely core for, I want to say $100 is probably going to be about what you're going to be looking at here. I don't encourage spending a crazy amount of money on that, but you got to remember that's for base rarity. Obviously, if you're planning on picking up the regular Purely, the X Purely Happiness, the Nor, and the My Friend Purely, you're going to be paying way more, at least in terms of that department. So you got to be aware of that. So 4 collector's rares, all of which, good news is Happiness and Nor, I don't think you play 3 of each, so you're going to need 2 of those. So that leaves you with the Purely and then the access to the My Friend Purely in collector's rare. So it's not going to cost, that's what, 10 collector's rares? Assume $40, maybe 50 to 60 for the Purely one to start. You're probably looking at $300-400 to max, just with those cards. That's not entirely terrible if you just love the adorable little friends. And then there is the Minconco. Now this one's kind of interesting because looking at Minconco, they're not that strong. I think the best gimmick... okay, first of all, they're a battle phase reflection damage-based control deck. How good is that, actually, in modern era Yu-Gi-Oh? The thing is, it doesn't feel that strong. That's kind of why I'm looking at this and I was like, we have High Ray, we have Nini, and we have, the Reflection Rondo, which is the take control of the opponent's monster, all available in collectors right now. To be fair, I think that all of the cards in collector rarity for these are going to look really nice. I'm actually super excited about that. But the biggest part of this deck that you really care about was the Ritual Monster, which is literally just some OTK machine that also gives you access to search for Minconco. Like, the biggest thing with the Minconco package was you just kind of play like a splash package of it in some like really weird outlets just to get access to the Rondo Mirror to take control of your opponent's monster. It's super gimmicky, but it is a thing that this deck can do, alright? Like, and also, I mean, to be fair, like, the Orochi itself is, like, the best card. So, and, I mean, considering the fact that, unless you're trying to bling this out, this core shouldn't cost you too much. Now, I understand, like, you're paywalled between several ultra rares. It seems to be a lot of the theme here, but, like, it's not gonna cost you too much, because the little monsters, if you're trying to like play splash package, you know, Hare and Nini are super rares, unless you're trying to get collector's rares. And then, you know, okay, well, what the Rondo Mirror is cheap as well. I think for the splash package, if you don't want to pick up 3 of everything, you're sitting in a decent place for this one. I think this would probably be, this and Rescue would probably be some of the cheapest out of the set here. So very, very big W's, at least in terms of that department. Now, the collector's rares that I would probably approach here. So there is Isolde here. Here's the good thing with the Isolde, all right, being a collector's rare. I don't have to buy 3 of them. I think that's like the biggest win out of this set, is just looking at Isolde as a card. I'm like, what, most Warrior decks play 2, if that. Like, I feel like 2 was definitely pushing it in some aspects. So if you're looking at this set and you're like, you know, like, what collector's rares do I want to go after? Isolde is, it's going to be the beat cop of the set. If it really does hit that $30 price point, then I don't feel bad about it. Like, that's fine by me for a one-of. Okay, I'll take that. So that's definitely what I'm looking at least in terms of something of value there for that collector's rare. Now, I guess on the topic of the Gizmek Orochi being a collector's rare, I'm indifferent about this. I personally don't think I'm going to pick this up, but I will say out there, for all of the whole 3 Orcus players that still relevantly exist, and to all of the Grand Manju players out here, you know, riding the copium train, I think this is an excellent pickup, at least for you. You guys can get some Gizmeks in a nice higher rarity. All right, yeah, you can argue that the secret rare does exist. Yeah, sure, it happens all the time. For the most part, I don't think this is going to be crazy expensive. But the thing is, like, you're not really, if you're looking at picking up Gizmek and collector's rare, you're not doing it for the money aspect of it. You're doing it because you want it for the collector's purpose of the card. All right, like, that's, you want it to be a nicer rarity that's available for your deck. So that's a big thing to kind of take with note with that. But if they hit like $20, I'm not going to be surprised. Definitely is going to be up there. And then there's the 1-for-1. Oh boy. Well, here's an interesting topic on 1-for-1. You know, 1-for-1 has so many rarities at this point in time. Yeah, the collector's rare is going to look really, really nice, but you got to ask yourself, is this going to be the one? Is this the 1Bs? You know, is this the card that I want to pick up out of the set? I still prefer my original super rare to, I think, the collector's rare that we're going to see in this set. So I do think that 1-for-1 is going to be one of the more expensive cards out of Amazing Defenders. That's for sure. I think if you're looking at this set and you're going, oh, you know, like collector's rare, no, it's probably going to be one of the more expensive ones. Like, it is a very iconic piece. Whether or not it sees current play right now is another story. But if you're looking at the set and you're going, will be Pankratops level? No, I don't think so. I'd say $50 to $60, maybe, if that. I think we're hitting very highball there for that, but that's that. And then I guess the last one I got to give a mention here to really pick up or keep an eye on here for the older players is going to be Card Trooper. You know, Card Trooper, Troop Doop Scoop, one of the most legacy iconic formats out here in the game's history. We're definitely kind of starting to look at more older cards getting into high rarity slots. So I feel like something like Card Trooper definitely made that splash there on that because they wanted the opportunity to include that there. So I definitely will say, for the most part, that I am hoping that we will see some sort of movement here on the Card Trooper into a better slot. But if you're looking at picking it up, it's not going to cost you too much. If you haven't noticed, Amazing Defenders doesn't look too good on paper. I think a lot of things are going to shoot up over time, though, because of that cheap price point. So if you're planning on getting stuff, week 1 is going to be your best bet, in my personal opinion. All right. You guys have a good rest of your day, all right? Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.